Let me ask you something real personal, not to make you uncomfortable, but to make you think. When was the last time you really paid attention? I mean really paid attention to how you wash your body? Or how your mom washes hers? Or your grandfather? Not just a rinse here and there. Not the quick shower before church. I'm talking about the forgotten parts, the spots we don't see, don't think about, until something goes wrong. And I get it. You're busy. Life happens. We all fall into habits. But sometimes, it's the habits we don't have that end up costing us the most. You ever notice how a small rash turns into a sore? How an odd smell becomes a wound? Or how something as tiny as a mist wipe under the breast or behind the ear becomes a serious infection? You see, as we get older, our bodies don't bounce back like they used to. Skin thins out. Circulation slows. Our immune systems aren't quite the soldiers they once were. So a skipped spot in the shower isn't just a little thing anymore. It could mean real pain, hospital visits, or even long-term damage. I've seen it with people I care about. I've heard the stories of seniors who felt embarrassed by a lingering smell they didn't even realize was coming from a neglected belly button. Or folks who ended up in urgent care because of an infection under their toenail that started from something as simple as not washing between their toes. And look, I'm not saying this to scare you. I'm saying this because no one else is talking about it. But here on Elder Talks Daily, we do. Because we care. So here's what we're diving into today: 5 body parts. Just 5. That you, or the person you love, need to clean every single day. Not because we're being fussy. But because these 5 spots can actually help you live longer. Seriously. Stick with me through this, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what they are, why they matter, and how to clean them gently and properly, even if you've got arthritis or mobility issues. And hey, if you're someone who wants to take better care of your body, or you're supporting someone you love through their golden years, drop a comment below saying, "I'm here." Because being here means you care. And caring is the first step. And while you're at it, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Here on Elder Talks Daily, we break down everything you need to age with confidence, with grace, and most importantly, with dignity. You ready? Let's get into it. Because your health starts in the places most people overlook. Shall we begin? Let's start with one of the smallest parts of the body, but one that can quietly cause big problems. The belly button. Yeah, I know, it sounds silly at first. But hear me out. I remember a story about Mr. Davis. He's 74, sharp as a tack, retired schoolteacher. Always well-groomed. Always smelled of aftershave and wore those neat button-up shirts. But one day, he went in for a checkup complaining about a strange odor he just couldn't shake. At first, no one could figure out where it was coming from. It wasn't his breath, not his clothes. Then the nurse gently lifted his shirt, looked around his abdomen, and found it. A small, red, infected belly button. It had been building up for weeks, maybe longer. Dead skin. Old sweat. A bit of lint. Nothing major, until it was. Here's the thing, the navel is like a little pocket. A soft, dark, warm space that barely sees the light of day. And those are prime conditions for bacteria and fungus. Especially when it's left unwashed. And with age? Well, bending over to scrub your stomach, or even remember to, isn't exactly a priority anymore. But it should be. As we grow older, our flexibility shrinks. Our senses dull a bit. We don't feel that sticky spot like we used to. We forget. And sometimes, we assume it's clean just because water ran over it. But that little dip in the belly holds onto things: sweat, soap residue, skin oils, and yeah, even lint from your shirt. And if it's not cleaned regularly, you risk navel infections, the kind that start with a bit of redness and end in itching, odor, even pus in some cases. I know, it's not pleasant to talk about. But that's why it's so important. Now, I'm not saying you need to scrub it raw. Here's what you do: take a soft, warm cloth, or a cotton swab if mobility is a challenge. Use a bit of gentle soap. Gently clean around and in the belly button, don't force it, just be thorough. Then, and this is key, make sure it's dry. Moisture is the enemy here. Pat it dry with a clean towel. If it's deep, even a quick swab with a tissue afterward works wonders. And if you're a caregiver, please don't skip this. I know it feels awkward sometimes. But dignity isn't just about how someone looks, it's about how they feel. And no one feels good with a festering belly button they're too shy to mention. And speaking of moisture, there's another area that's often hidden, often humid, and often ignored, yet absolutely vital to daily hygiene. Let's move just a little lower, because the next one may surprise you. Now let's talk about something many folks don't mention, especially our elders. But it's so important, and honestly, it's one of the most neglected areas when it comes to hygiene, under the breasts. And all those skin folds, like under the belly, around the groin, even behind the knees or in the neck creases. Now before you brush this off, let me tell you a story. Mrs. Helen was 79. Sweetest woman you'd ever meet. Loved gardening, even had a whole wall of potted herbs by her window. But one summer, she started getting itchy. She thought it was just the heat or maybe dry skin. But it got worse. Redness, stinging, even a sour smell. Turned out, she had a yeast infection under her breasts. Not because she was dirty, but because that area, like many others on an aging body, is soft, warm, and stays closed off most of the day. That's a perfect storm for sweat, heat, and bacteria. As we age, skin becomes thinner, and it doesn't dry out as quickly. Sweat collects. Gravity causes skin to fold more. And when there's limited airflow, the skin starts to break down. You know those little red patches or rashes that seem to come from nowhere? That's often where they start. Here's what most people get wrong. They rinse their body in the shower and assume the water did the job. But rinsing isn't cleaning, especially not in folds where water just runs past, not through. And some caregivers? They skip over these areas because they don't want to offend anyone's modesty. It's understandable, but it can be dangerous. Because what starts as mild irritation can turn into open sores, fungus, or bacterial infections that hurt, and sometimes need antibiotics. So what should you do? Simple. Every day, gently lift the skin. Clean beneath it using warm water and mild soap. Rinse thoroughly. But most importantly, dry it well. That's the part most people forget. Use a soft towel. Pat, don't rub. If your loved one is prone to sweating, you can even use moisture-wicking cloth pads or apply a small bit of cornstarch-based powder to keep things dry. This might sound like a lot, but trust me, it's worth it. You're not just preventing discomfort. You're preventing infections that could knock someone down for weeks. And I'll say this again, if you're a caregiver, don't shy away from these moments. They're intimate, yes, but they're acts of deep love. Helping someone feel clean and comfortable is one of the most powerful ways to care for their dignity. Now let's shift a little further down the body. To something we all rely on every single day, yet rarely pay close attention to. Our feet. And especially, the parts in between. You ever looked at someone's feet and thought, they've walked through a lifetime? Because they have. Every wrinkle, every bruise, every callus tells a story. Years of movement, balance, and support. But with all that history comes one major issue: neglect. The feet, especially in older adults, are one of the most commonly overlooked parts of the body. And it's not just about dry skin or cracked heels. It's between the toes where things get dangerous. I'll never forget Mr. Sam. Proud, independent, 82 years old. Always in his loafers, even at home. But behind those quiet shoes, he was hiding a secret, an itch that wouldn't go away. What started as a little moisture between his toes turned into athlete's foot. He didn't say anything, maybe he was embarrassed, maybe he didn't want to bother anyone. By the time his daughter noticed the smell and checked his feet, the infection had spread. The skin was peeling. Raw. And it wasn't just discomfort anymore, it was painful to walk. Here's the thing. Feet, especially in our later years, are high-risk zones for all sorts of issues. Fungal infections. Bacterial buildup. Ulcers. And for those with diabetes? One small sore can spiral into something catastrophic. Why? Because in those tight spaces between the toes, moisture lingers. The soap from your shower? It pools. The sweat from your day? It stays trapped. And unlike your arms or back, your toes don't get air circulation. No airflow means no drying, and no drying means bacterial paradise. And let's be honest, how many people actually reach down and clean between their toes? For many older adults, even bending that far is a challenge. So they think, it's fine. The water will rinse it off. But rinsing isn't enough. It's not enough. So what can you do? Start by washing the entire foot with warm water and gentle soap. Then, gently clean between each toe, yes, individually. Use your fingers, a soft cloth, or even a washcloth wrapped around your hand. And this part is critical, dry them completely. Take a dry towel and gently pat between each toe. If mobility is an issue, caregivers can use a soft towel, or even a hairdryer on a low, cool setting. Whatever works, just don't leave those spaces damp. You can also sprinkle a bit of antifungal powder between the toes if infections have been a problem in the past. Something light, non-irritating. Prevention goes a long way. Because clean, dry feet aren't just about comfort, they're about mobility, independence, and dignity. When feet hurt, people stop moving. When people stop moving, everything else begins to decline. So if there's one thing to remember from this, it's that feet deserve your attention. Every toe. Every crease. Coming up next. Let's shift focus to a body part that almost no one thinks about, until it starts to smell. And trust me, it's a part you've probably skipped over for years without even realizing it. Behind the ears. It's one of those places you don't see, don't feel, and most days, don't even think about. But if you've ever leaned in to hug someone and caught a faint sour smell, chances are, it came from right there. That little hidden area behind the ear. The space where skin folds slightly, where oils collect, and where soap rarely reaches. Take Ms. Ruth, for example. Elegant woman. Always wore pearl earrings, always had her hair neatly pulled back. To everyone else, she looked perfectly clean. But during a routine check, the nurse noticed some redness behind her ears. It was raw. Smelled a bit musty. She had no idea it was even happening. And that's what makes this spot so tricky. It hides in plain sight. You see, the back of the ears and those creases around the lobes are oil-rich areas. They collect sebum, dead skin, and bacteria. And for folks who wear glasses or oxygen tubing, that constant rubbing adds friction, leads to irritation, sometimes even small sores. When you're younger, your skin can bounce back from that. But as we age, the skin thins out. The ability to regenerate weakens. And that buildup? It sits there, day after day, irritating the skin until it finally breaks. One of the biggest mistakes people make is assuming that water running down in the shower is enough to clean it. It's not. That's like assuming rain is enough to clean your car windshield. It helps, sure, but it doesn't do the real job. Here's what you need to do. During your daily hygiene routine, take a warm cloth or a soft cotton pad. Gently wipe behind the ears. Get into the creases. Don't forget under the earlobe, especially where earrings might have rubbed. Use a little soap if needed, but be gentle. The skin there is sensitive. After cleaning, dry the area completely. If your loved one wears glasses, make sure the arms of the frame aren't pressing against any broken skin. And if you ever notice irritation, a small bit of unscented moisturizer can go a long way. This tiny act, just a few seconds each day, can prevent infections, stop odor, and help someone feel confident and comfortable. Because when we feel clean, we feel seen. And every part of us, even behind the ears, deserves that care. Let's keep going, because the last area we're about to talk about, it's one you use every day. One that touches your food, your face, your phone, and yet, it often hides more bacteria than a toilet seat. Let's talk about your hands, specifically, what's under those fingernails. Take a moment and look at your hands. They've cooked meals, wiped tears, held babies, buttoned shirts, planted flowers. They've done a lifetime of work. But as much as we wash our hands, how often do we clean under our fingernails? Here's where most people go wrong, especially older adults. They rinse. Maybe lather some soap. Rub their palms together. And that's it. But underneath those nails, that's a whole other story. Let me tell you about Mr. Alvin. He was in his early 80s, loved spending time in the garden. Every evening, he'd come in, wash his hands just like always, and sit down for dinner. But after a few weeks of feeling off, he ended up in the hospital. A bacterial infection. Nothing from the food. Nothing from outside. The doctors traced it back to his fingernails. Dirt and bacteria that had been sitting there, day after day. He never felt it. Never saw it. But it was enough to make him seriously sick. Under the nails is one of the dirtiest parts of the body. And the older we get, the easier it is to overlook. Why? Because nails thicken with age. Vision may decline. Flexibility drops. And trimming or cleaning becomes harder, even painful. Yet this tiny space, just a few millimeters wide, can carry E. coli, staph, yeast, you name it. And when hands go near the mouth, touch medication, prepare meals, that bacteria spreads. So how do we fix it? Start with trimming the nails regularly. Keep them short, clean, and smooth. Use a nail brush, a soft one. Wet it, add a little soap, and gently scrub under the nails during hand washing. If you don't have a brush, even a clean toothbrush will do the trick. For caregivers, this step is crucial. It might feel small, but it could literally prevent infections, reduce hospital visits, and protect someone's life. And if nails are thick or yellowed, that may be a sign of fungus. Don't ignore it, have it checked. What's amazing is that this takes less than a minute a day. But the impact? It's enormous. You clean your hands to stay safe. So don't forget the part that touches everything first, the nails. So there you have it. 5 simple places, that aren't so simple after all. Each one often ignored. Each one capable of affecting quality of life in ways most people never imagine. But we're not done yet. Because what comes next might be the most important part of this conversation. How these little acts of care can change not just the body, but the heart. Let's talk about that. Let's take a breath together, because I know, this is a lot. We're not just talking about body parts. We're talking about people. People you love. People who once took care of you. And now, it's your turn. It's not easy, is it? Watching someone age. Noticing that they're slower to get up. That they forget to dry between their toes. That their confidence fades a little more each time they feel less fresh. It sneaks up on you. And suddenly, these little things, washing behind the ears, wiping the belly button, trimming fingernails, don't feel so little anymore. They feel heavy. Because they matter. And maybe you're feeling a bit overwhelmed right now. Maybe you're thinking, I've missed some of this. What if I haven't done enough? Let me tell you something, from one human being to another. Just being here, listening, learning, caring, that already makes you someone who's doing more than most. Caring for someone in their later years is a quiet kind of bravery. It's not loud. It's not glamorous. But it's love in its purest form. And if you're the one aging, if you're watching this for yourself, I want you to hear me too. Taking care of your own body isn't selfish. It's strong. It's dignified. It's saying, I matter. My comfort matters. My health matters. So instead of guilt, let's lean into preparedness. Let's lean into love. These 5 little habits, they don't require much, but they can help someone live longer. Stay out of the hospital. Feel clean. Feel confident. Feel seen. So here's my challenge to you, take just 5 minutes today. Go over those 5 areas, on yourself or someone you love. Do it gently. Do it with kindness. And remind yourself, this is what real care looks like. Because it's not the grand gestures that matter most. It's the quiet ones. The warm cloth. The gentle wipe. The soft towel behind the ear. That's what love sounds like when it doesn't need to speak. Let's finish strong, because you've come this far, and there's one last thing I want you to do. And trust me, it could help someone else just as much as it's helped you. Let's quickly go over what we learned today, just so it stays fresh in your heart and your mind. We talked about 5 often overlooked spots on the body that can make a huge difference in how someone feels and functions every single day. Backhand index pointing right, the navel, that tiny little pocket that can quietly collect bacteria. Backhand index pointing right under the breasts and in skin folds, where trapped sweat can lead to painful rashes and infections. Backhand index pointing right between the toes, a space that needs more than just a rinse if you want to keep walking strong. Backhand index pointing right behind the ears, a place that holds more than just memories of childhood whisper games. It also holds oil and dirt. Backhand index pointing right and under the fingernails, a small space that can carry big health risks if forgotten. Simple things. Gentle habits. But they can add years to someone's life, and bring back a feeling of dignity that no medication can provide. Now I'd love to hear from you. Which of these 5 surprised you the most? Which one will you pay more attention to starting today? Drop your answer in the comments. Let's talk about it, because when we share, we help each other grow. And if this video made you pause, if it made you think about your parents, your grandparents, or even your own body, then do something small, but powerful. Click like. Not for me, but so the YouTube algorithm sends this message to someone else who needs it. Hit subscribe and join our growing family here at Elder Talks Daily, where we talk about the real stuff. The quiet stuff. The things that actually matter when it comes to growing older with grace. You won't find hype here. Just heart. And every week, we'll be right here with you, helping you care for the ones who once cared for you. Thank you for spending this time with me. You're doing better than you think. Stay gentle. Stay wise. Stay curious. And I'll see you in the next video.